In a scary moment as we went to commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard and
Sophie Cunningham. Oh, man. I got to tell you, this victory, it came with a big price.
Look at today's game where Sophie Cunningham went out in the first half. And that was such a huge blow for the Indiana Fever because Sophie Cunningham has been somebody, she has been the glue of this team since Caitlin has been out.
Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty player.
I'd say there's a near 0% chance that Sophie Cunningham plays again this year.
The basketball gods have officially declared war on the Indiana Fever, additionally, by getting rid of Sophie Cunningham. They delivered their most devastating blow to date in the most heartbreaking way possible, what started off as a normal match against. The son of a Connecticut basement dweller turned into an absolute nightmare when Brea Hartley, who allegedly thinks she is, clashed with Sophie's knee while playing rugby instead of basketball, leaving Indiana's fiercest defender on the court, writhing in agony.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what it was at first when I saw her went down. So let's break down the play where Sophie got hurt. So as you can see here, Brea Hartley is going baseline. Kelsey Mitchell is guarding her. And then Sophie comes over to help. And then Brea Hartley falls on her leg. And Sophie immediately grabs like her shin area.
They went at Sophie Cunningham early. And considering this is Brea Hartley, I'm not ruling out that she jumped through her knee. Considering who it is, I'm not. Like, Brea Hartley has been ejected multiple times. She's yanked Angel by the hair. This is the Connecticut Sun. This is a team that have jumped through players' knees before.
Brea Hartley has had dirty plays all season. You got to know who we're talking about. Brea Hartley is the same girl that pulled Angel Reese out of there by her ponytail just last game, I think 2 days ago. She pulls Becca Allen by her head to the floor, and Ariel Atkins goes over there to protect her teammate. Brea Hartley has been doing dirty things for all season. She's been a dirty...
Because of the injury pandemic that has afflicted the Fever, every fan started to question whether this notorious season would ever finish. Throughout the entire year, they witnessed Sophie holding onto her right knee with tears flowing down her face. However, this is where the story takes the most incredible turn you could possibly hope for, as the Indiana Fever achieved. The greatest comeback in franchise history, with a roster held together by athletic tape and no defensive anchor. What transpired was the result of sheer willpower, defying common sense, logic, and physics. This is the type of magic in sports. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so please click like and leave retort queens in the comments.
25 minutes didn't look like we had any business beating this Connecticut Sun team. For 25 minutes, we looked like the worst team on the court. Defensive rotations, Marina hitting the three, Sanaya Rivers taking it to the rim, Tina Charles, Aaliyah Edwards, out rebounding AB, Natasha Howard. But we came alive when we needed to come alive. We forced overtime. Kelsey Mitchell, back-to-back threes in OT. Lexi Holt, dagger three, putting the nail in the...
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. Yeah. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. You never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes, and we will never be counted out, because that is worth gold. That is worth.
It was devastating for everyone watching to watch the injuries progress in real time. This season, Brea Hartley's identity and reputation are known to the WNBA. This is the player who grabbed Angel Reese's ponytail and pulled her out of the air, the same dubious competitor who has been. Throughout the season, they threw elbows and made reckless plays while managing to avoid the kind of consequences that should have resulted in her suspension several months ago. While driving, Hartley lost control. In the second quarter, she went to the hoop and hit Sophie's planted right instead of just falling awkwardly. Like a wrecking ball hitting a beam of support, you have to wonder if these officials will keep putting up with Such irresponsible actions till a person's job is ended permanently due to the consequences was quite serious and clearly avoidable.
She was on the ground. She was crying. She was yelling. It definitely seemed like she was in a ton of pain. The training staff went over to her. They went to commercial break. Like, it was a real injury. This wasn't something, and Sophie's the type of player, a lot of times when she does get injured, she just gets right back up. She tries to walk it off. This was something that kept her down, and it was so hard to see. It is ironic because Bria Hartley has been in multiple scuffles this year with the Connecticut Sun. A lot of people would categorize her as a dirty player.
She roughs house. And Kathy Engelberg, this is why I say you wonder why there's so many goddamn injuries all over the league, because you are allowing people to play rugby and football and do UFC moves in the middle of a basketball game. In the beginning of this game, Sophie Cunningham is bringing the ball up the floor. She gets mugged, hit upside the head, knocked to the floor while dribbling the ball up the floor 75 feet away from the rim. Do you think the refs called anything?
Both Sophie's sister, I believe, and her mother both tweeted about this play. Now, Lindsay, her sister, said, WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie. And then Paula, who I think is her mom, that's what the internet is saying, she said, Hartley is a disgruntled player, having trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out.
Sophie's remark told you everything you needed to know about the seriousness of what had just happened. Because the core of this player's identity is being physically powerful and never giving up on anything or anyone. When you first saw her, you knew something significant had just occurred. Clutch her knee, start hopping on one leg, and eventually fall to the ground in clear pain, considering that Indiana is already reduced to virtually a skeleton crew of healthy athletes. The fact that she required support from trainers and teammates too. The story should have ended with him leaving the court while clearly attempting to put any weight on that leg. But this is what makes the whole thing even more annoying from a league-wide perspective. Instead of allowing people like Hartley to play, the WNBA could have performed its duties throughout the season. This injury might have been completely prevented if they had played like they were in a demolition derby during the initial quarter. Hartley and her teammates were able to get away with several cheap shots and overly violent maneuvers thanks to the refs, including making no calls and pushing Sophie to the ground as she was dribbling the ball 75 feet from the hoop. When you create an environment where athletes feel they can employ rugby strategies with UFC techniques without suffering any consequences, and that's exactly what happened today.
By the way, if you guys have seen, they've done a lot, they have done a lot of reckless things in this game that haven't led to fouls. I don't think this is... I hope this isn't reckless. I can't rule out it being reckless. I hope it's not reckless. But at the same time, like, the referees... There were so many situations earlier on in the game that, in fairness, that the referees were letting them away with. The referees thought, okay, yeah, let's tee up Sophie Cunningham straight away in the game. And that's going to, that's keeping the game in control. But from minute one, the Connecticut Sun... How many times have the Connecticut Sun against the Fever dove through people's knees? Multiple times this team has.
You guys brag about how physical. You guys wear it like a badge of honor. We're here to watch basketball. If we want to watch wrestling, we'll watch wrestling. If we want to watch fighting, we'll watch fighting. We're here to watch basketball. And Bria Hartley is no different than Dejanay Carrington. It's just nobody talks about it because she's on the Connecticut Sun.
During Caitlin Clark's extended absence, Sophie Cunningham has assumed a pivotal role on this Fever team. Being the sole player willing to protect her teammates and offer the same amount of enthusiasm is particularly annoying. And the defensive presence required by successful teams. She has been Indiana's most dependable player since the All-Star break. Player scoring more than 12 points a game on average, shooting more than 50% from three-point range, and demonstrating the kind of leadership that is unmatched by any street player for a team that is now nearing the end of the playoffs. Struggle. It would be catastrophic to lose her for any amount of time.
The games went along by a landslide. The best addition we had on this roster. From her play, her shot making, her defense, the intensity she brings, the energy, her having Caitlin Clark's back and actually being willing to fight and scrap when nobody else would hold Caitlin Clark down. Sophie Cunningham said, you know what? I got you. Now she's done. The best addition we had all season.
She is playing so incredibly well during the second half of this season. She plays hard every single night. She's super tough. She doesn't make excuses. Like, she is somebody who has really held this team.
The Fever, who had lost 4 of their last 5 games going into this match and were in desperate need of. The timing couldn't be worse. A victory over the league's poorest club to preserve their chances of qualifying for the postseason. Sophie may now be among the athletes whose season might be destroyed by unmanageable. Due to their individual injuries, Sydney Carlson and Ari McDonald are both out for the season. Indiana faced the very real danger of Caitlin Clark missing her 13th consecutive game due to a groin issue, of having their season totally ruined. The final nail seems to be being pounded into the Fever's postseason coffin as the Suns jumped out to a 19-point lead at the half and increased it to 21 points early in the third quarter. But at this point, the story moves away from pain to complete magic due to the Indiana Fever's decision to pen one of the greatest comeback stories in contemporary basketball history instead of collapsing under the pressure and adversity, as the majority of teams would have done in a comparable situation. Indiana began the second half with a performance that defied all probability and statistical models. Calculator in existence, headed by Kelsey Mitchell, who unmistakably determined that losing was not an option regardless of how. They faced numerous obstacles. We witnessed the spirit and determination that set outstanding teams from respectable ones. On the level of champions, Kelsey Mitchell's actions throughout the past 2.5 quarters of basketball was truly remarkable, and her performance in this game deserves a dedicated documentary series. Mitchell tied her career high of 38 points with 34 points in the second half and overtime. After witnessing her squad fall apart around her and only managing 4 points in the first half, it's not only an amazing performance. Independently, no player in the WNBA has scored more points than that one this season, and it came right before her squad required a miracle to save their season. Throughout this comeback, Mitchell did more than just score points. However, the numbers don't adequately represent her accomplishments. She completely controlled the game in every way. She pulled down 4 rebounds, dished out 6 assists, and struck 11 for 222 from the floor, 11 for 12 from the free throw line, and 5 for 8 from three-point range. More importantly, she completed the largest comeback by making all 10 of Indiana's overtime points, including back-to-back three-pointers, in team history. That essentially put an end to the game. When the stakes were high, Mitchell behaved like a true superstar. The highest and the most intense pressure. Mitchell's achievements are further elevated by their historical context. The effect of her performance, as the only player in WNBA history to record multiple goals. She recently joined Diana Taurasi. The record books list games with 35 points or more, 6 assists or more, and 5 or more three-pointers. When talking about important plays and exceptional individual efforts, that's the kind of group you wish to enter. The fact that this happened during Indiana's most crucial game is even more astounding. Season, when their team's chances of making the playoffs were in doubt due to serious injuries. But Mitchell wasn't able to make a full recovery without the help of her support system. Her side should also be praised for their tenacity in the face of seemingly hopeless circumstances. Odyssey Sims, who recently signed a hardship contract and started her first game for Indiana, spearheaded the offense with her playmaking and leadership, contributing 7 assists and 19 points. Possibly her most thorough. Aaliyah Boston's season-high 14 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists dominated the stat sheet. 2 blocks and 2 thefts. Lexi Hull scored the game-winning three-pointer with 44 seconds remaining in overtime, which essentially. Natasha Howard scored 18 points and had a crucial interior presence to seal the win. Despite not playing many important minutes this season, Brianna Turner even assisted in leading the defense during a crucial rally moments and contributed 10 useful minutes off the bench. This was the outcome of a group's total cooperation and a reluctance to exploit injury or hardship as excuses for not trying their hardest. Stephanie White found the right matches and rotations despite working with a relatively tiny group. Her strategic changes made throughout this comeback are therefore also commendable. Starting Sims was a smart decision and offer her significant playing time in a crucial game.